All right, so welcome to the Learning Support Services presentation, part of the Alpha Open House tonight. My name is Frank McLean, and I am the Learning Support Services Department Head over here. Joining me tonight is one of my colleagues. She's just off in another room, Miss Janisha Haywood. And so she's gonna be, there she is. So Janisha is going to be following the chat tonight. And if you guys have any questions, just feel free to write them in the chat. And at the end of our presentation, Janisha will come back on and share those questions with us, and we'll try to answer them the best we can for you. All right. So let's get rolling here. So we got a few goals for this evening. The first one is to introduce the learning support programs currently offered at Alpha. Then we're going to outline the process of transition for incoming students. I know some of that was already covered by Steve Berman, the Department Head of Counseling, but we'll go over a little bit more. And then also we'll support families in coordinating and collaborating to ensure a positive transition experience for your child. So this slide just takes a look at the LSS programs overview. I'm going to go into them in more detail in the coming slides. But at Alpha, we do aim to be an inclusive school for all students. And to help us achieve this goal, we have created programs with a wide scope to help us reach students of all abilities. Based on the learning needs of our present student population, the following learning support programs are being offered at Alpha. So we have the Access program, the Pre-Employment program, as well as the Connect program. And each of these have very different goals and different populations. So we'll go over them in depth, but you can see from this chart, just at a quick glance, where some students would fit in. Wanted to let you see a picture, since typically we would be doing this in person, of the staff that we currently have. So this is our teaching staff. There's myself, and then Mr. Vlasil, Ms. Haywood, Ms. Rana, and Ms. Pomeroy. All of the top row, they all work within the Connect program, which we'll go over in just a moment. And also heard Mr. Berman talk about the Achieve program. So that would be Mr. Vlasil that runs that. That's the after school program. We'll talk about that as well a little bit more in a bit. And then on the bottom row, we've got Ken Suter-Dirksen and Lily Tong. And Ken is the main contact teacher for the pre-employment program, and Lily Tong is the main teacher for the Access program. At the end of our slideshow tonight, I will be sharing my contact information as well as Ken and Lily's. And so if you do have specific questions for teachers running those programs, you're more than welcome to reach out to them or myself. You can always reach me, no problem, through email or through just by calling the school. So let's start off with the Access program. The main objective of this program is to support students to develop functional life skills, social skills, and communication for increased independence. Students in this program will be working towards an evergreen certificate. So what that means is that that is a school leaving certificate. Basically, students in this program are what we would consider as our low incidence students, meaning that we don't have as many. It's a small group, and they would have more complex needs that would be needed. We would be needing to have a small group to support their learning goals. The teacher, as I mentioned, is Lily Tong, and there's also several supporting educational assistants. Lily, she comes with a lot of experience. So Lily first started off, like myself, as an educational assistant before gaining interest in getting into teaching. And then she's worked in various roles of learning support throughout the district before coming back to our school. She was an EA actually at our school quite a few years ago now, but has returned and was seeking out that position. So she was really happy to come back to Alpha. So the Access program is a small group, as I mentioned, where they would provide individual instruction with individualized goals, all based off of the students' IEPs. And of course, we create those in consultation with you, the parents, teachers that they're working with, the student themselves, outside agencies, and then district support staff as well. And that district support staff could include counselors, speech and language pathologists, occupational therapists, our district learning support teachers, as well as behavioral consultants. So we've got a lot of people looking to support individuals in our Access program. Some of the program goals that we like to focus on are independent living skills. So this would include things like self-care and self-management skills. Also, recently we've got because of COVID, we've had to reimagine how we might provide some independent living. And so we have been doing some shopping for the students so that then they can learn how to prepare some simple meals and we do that at lunch to support them with that. In the past, we would have worked on some money management as well as some trip planning. So being able to get out and take the bus and use services like Google Maps to try and plan trips out into the community. We also work on behavior management, social skills, and communication through this group, as well as daily physical activity. And this sometimes can include physical therapists or occupational therapists in consultation with groups like the CHSRT, which is the Children's Health Services Resource Team. We would also be working on functional literacy and numeracy skills, again, all individualized. As much as possible, we look for opportunities for inclusion in elective classes and academic classes wherever possible. And so this year we did have at least 2 students that from this program that had participated in academic classes at a modified level. So we look for that as much as possible. And of course, I would have to share with you our wonderful educational assistance team. Not all of our members are pictured here, but we have a wonderful group of educational assistants coming to us with a wide array of skills and knowledge, ranging from working with students in understanding American Sign Language, in supporting students that are deafblind. You might have heard a little bit about one of our students this year, a deafblind student, was in the Burnaby Now recently, who had recently created his own children's book. So if you do get a chance to check out A Bee's Journey by Scott Mallinson, we're really proud of the work he was doing, and a lot of the support came from his intervener that's amongst this group in here. But we've just got a wonderful group of support staff. The next program I want to talk to you about is the pre-employment program. When students would see this on their schedule, it's listed as the Literacy and Numeracy program. And the major objective of this program is to support students to develop independent living skills and provide work experience opportunities in preparation for entry-level employment or further programs in vocational and skills training that they can receive at post-secondary level. The students that go all the way from grade 8 through to grade 12 in this program also are looking at getting an Evergreen certificate, much like students in our Access program. However, it's a little bit more complex than that. As we know, no 2 learners are alike. And so we often have to adjust our plans as we go. And so because a student might be starting in the pre-employment program, does not mean that their journey will take them all the way through the program in high school. So there are some students in grade 8 that we realize need to have a smaller group support session. And we might put them into a block or 2 of pre-employment in grade 8. And as time goes along, we can see if they need to have more support and we add more blocks, or if we take those away and we find other ways to support them in the mainstream. And so we try to be as fluid as we can with the students that come in and out of the pre-employment program. As I mentioned in the first slide when introducing the staff there, Ken Suter-Dirksen is the primary teacher working with students in the pre-employment program. This year, we're lucky to have Janisha Haywood, who's joining us tonight, as one of our pre-employment teachers. So she'll have a block in 4th quarter, and I had a block in the 2nd quarter and got a chance to work with that wonderful group of students. And also every block, we try to at least have one supporting educational assistant with these groups. These classes typically max out at 10 students, so it is small group instruction with individual goals that are based on students' IEPs, again, in consultation with you, the parents, with teachers, with the student and outside agencies as well. Program goals here would focus on practical life skills. So we'd be looking at community safety, transit training, consumer skills, etc. We do have a focus for the pre-employment students on job skills, especially as we get to the senior grades. So from grade 10, 11, and 12, job skills become an important part of their curriculum. We look at work habits, school jobs, to provide them some opportunities to try some things out and figure out what they like to do. We go through some career awareness training with them, and then eventually try to get them some work experience. And again, that's been difficult this year because of COVID. A lot of companies are not willing to take students on. And of course, we want to make sure that our students and staff stay as safe as possible through the pandemic. We also like to focus in on social skills in this class. So this is, we do this through integrated elective classes. So students will have opportunities to show off their strengths by being integrated into elective classes as much as possible. We do some communication training with them through some programs. We work on emotional regulation and social skill training. So, and this is all responsive to the student group that we're working with. So we look to see who we're working with and then start to plan around what their needs are. Finally, academics, of course. We provide an individualized math and language arts program based on student abilities and needs, emphasizing practical life applications. And then also this year, we will have, for our final block of pre-employment in the year, Ms. Haywood has a science background, and so we'll have a science slant to the final course that they'll be working on this year, which we're really excited to offer. Moving on, so the Connect program is the LSS program with the widest scope, captures the largest group of students. The Connect room, which is located directly across from the main office, just at the main entrance to the school, which was done on purpose to have a central location for all students in the school to access supports. And it's not, we wanted to make sure that it was not tucked away in any corner. Students at Alpha, I really feel, this is my third year at the school, have no problem coming in and checking in for support. And the range of students that would come to Connect is from our struggling learners all the way up to our advanced placement students that are looking for support in their physics and chemistry and psychology classes at the highest of levels. And so really you see a wide range of students accessing supports in the Connect room. The program is open before school, during classes, at lunch, and after school. So before school, many of the staff arrive fairly early. And so once we're here, the doors are open and they're able to access supports. Again, because of COVID this year, we do have some increased regulations around that. And so students are permitted into the building this year at 8:45 for the junior grades. And then the senior grades can come in as well to receive some support at that time, but their classes aren't starting until 9:15 currently. But we're hoping that eventually we'll get back to normal. And so that's why I think it's important to let you know that our doors are not locked. We have those open as soon as we have staff in the building each day. Many students will use the Connect room for lunch and also reach out for some support on their lunch break, which we're glad to provide. And then after school, we have the Achieve program, which is staffed Monday through Thursday. The Connect room is a place for students to come and receive support for any of their subjects. And like I said, we do try to support all of our students. So we attempt to staff every block with a humanities teacher, with the English and social studies background, as well as a cymatics specialist, someone that can help them with their math and science. The current teachers in this program are listed below, but I showed you the pictures off of the front on the first page. So we'll jump on to the next one. So Connect works in a few different ways. One of the ways that it works is Connect In. So students can access the Connect room in a variety of ways. They can be enrolled in a block, However, this year, because of the quarter schedule, we have very few students enrolled in Connect blocks. We tried to avoid that as much as possible because having a Connect block for half of a day is not the most efficient use of their time. But when we get back to normal, we'll have more enrolled. So this is a scheduled in block to check in, get some help completing assignments. And depending on students' specific needs, this might be for one semester or both. We also have the Connect drop-in. So drop-in students are welcome to drop in to Connect whenever they need to. So this is to complete tests, to use a computer, or work on assignments, or even have just a calm space at any time by coordinating with their classroom teacher after lessons have been delivered. So typically students will receive their lessons and then ask their teachers if they can come on down to the Connect room to receive some supports. All right, we also have Connecting Out. And so the Connect Out program is designed to support teachers around the school and meeting the needs of all the students in their classes. Connect Out teachers work with other teachers in their classrooms to provide additional support for classroom activities, which might include things like group projects, computer lab activities, small group review sessions, labs and hands-on activities, and also lesson planning with the teacher to create more access points for learning. And so we're constantly in communication with teachers around the building and finding out what's going on in their classes. And every month at our staff meeting, we'll remind teachers that we're available to Connect Out. And we look forward to those invitations to get a chance to pop back into mainstream classes and support those teachers in any way that we can. And of course, through them, supporting the learning of students. The Achieve program is the after-school program that's been spoken of. And the homework program here operates Monday through Thursday for 1 hour following the completion of classes. And so this year, that program is operating from 2:30 until 3:30 because our senior students' classes end at 2:25. And so we give Mr. Vlasil a few minutes to wrap up his afternoon block, and then he will find his way down to Connect to support students that show up for some homework support after school. And we found this quite useful to have the program staffed with a teacher who has a math science background, as it seems as though that's the greatest need of support. And so often you'll find quite a few students sticking around after school to get some help from Mr. Vlasil. It is a great place to get some homework done before you head home. So we've got some students that come regularly just because they don't want to have homework when they get home. Also, it's a great place to find some support for a class. And, you know, typically it wouldn't just be Mr. Vlasil, but if students want to check in with myself or Ms. Haywood, we're often around to help them out before we close down for the day. And also, if there's a specific concept that the child is struggling with, we can look to get them some help there. So a little overview of the transition process that we go through in taking students from grade 7 into their high school experience. So in January, we get going pretty early here. The counseling team will provide course selection presentations to elementary catchment schools. And so that's already been completed. January 29th was our last presentation. And also around that same time, sometimes on the same day, articulation meetings are happening at those neighboring schools where individual strengths and also the needs of all incoming students are identified by their elementary teams and conveyed to the team at Alpha. And so the teachers that would be sitting in on those would be a representative from our counseling team, as well as myself, so that we can start to plan for what programming we're going to need to offer in the fall, if we need to make any adaptations to the programming that we'll offer, as well as look at best fit for students, looking at what classes they're going to need, what kind of supports we're going to have ready to go on the first day of September when classes get underway. We also do have, of course, the parent information evening. That's what's happening right now, and that happens at all of the high schools throughout Burnaby throughout this month. And so the LSS presentation, I think it's important to mention to you all, is not that different from school to school. However, you will notice that we're we all try to be responsive to the needs of the students that we have. And so there will be slightly different programs at schools if you go out to multiple of these information evenings. And then after that, we do look at individual transition plan meetings. And those would be for students that have moderate to complex needs. These might be opportunities to meet with occupational therapists or physical therapists, sometimes nurses or medical personnel that are involved with the children that are coming in, and sometimes behavior consultants as well. There's lots of community and district people involved in some of our more complex students. And we want to make sure that we know them the best that we can before we receive them to make that transition smooth. These conversations may include some talk about accessibility, resources, and then of course, the most important thing is this shared model of support, understanding what's worked before so that we can continue those positive needs for the student. An overview of, so we're keeping going here. So once the school year gets going for next year, well, I should go back just a little bit maybe, but in August, we've got the counseling team making sure that our timetable is all set and ready to go. Typically the LSS team also is working in conjunction with them, making sure that the students that are in our access and pre-employment programs, as well as students that carry a designation, have their timetables all set and that there isn't anything vital that they're missing. And so sometimes in late August, I might have some meetings with a few people to make sure that we've got everything in order and ready to go. The grade 8's first day of school would happen at the beginning of September. And on that day, they would receive their timetable, locate a locker and practice opening the lock with staff and mentors. This can be an area of great anxiety for young students who haven't had to learn a locker combination and how that all works. But you can, if there's young people listening to this tonight, rest assured that you will get support with that. There's lots of people to help you out. This year, because of COVID, we don't have lockers. Those weren't available to students this year. But as we get back to normal, that will become available again. Also, grade 8 students on the first day, I invite them all to find a way to the Connect room after their homerooms to get some support with their lockers or locating their classrooms. We do lots of school tours early in the year to make sure that everyone knows where all of their classes are and that they're comfortable with the teachers that they're going to be working with. And so that happens as early as possible. Also in September, within the first week or two, I work with my team to make sure that a case manager is assigned for your child if they are carrying a designation. And then student information is shared with the team so that those case managers will be reaching out and letting the teachers that will be working with these students know about their needs and what works for them, what their strengths are, and what supports they're going to need to be successful. And then after that, once we get everything set up in-house, then we will be looking to contact parents. So the case managers would be reaching out, and that would be through email typically for a first response, and then setting up IEP meetings. This year, most of our IEP meetings have been done through Zoom, so something just like this, and it seemed to work quite well. And those meetings range typically from 30 minutes to 45 minutes. And we go over, again, the strengths and needs of the child so that we can plan for success. All right, that brings us to the end of our display, our presentation. And as you can see right here, you feel free to reach out, and I really do mean this, to myself. My contact number is on the top, which actually I'm going to quickly correct. I can see that it wasn't updated, so we'll take a look at that. But the email address is correct, and we'll reach out. So Miss Haywood, if you've got, I'm going to stop sharing the slideshow and fix that phone number. And if you could come on and let us know about any of the questions that popped up.
Yeah, it's been pretty quiet in the chat, but we do have one here concerning COVID. They're asking, is the Connect room available to all students in grades, regardless of learning groups?
Absolutely, yes. So 8 through 12, regardless of what learning group you're working with, we've got every student is welcome. And as I mentioned, really we've got a range of students every day. Students that are struggling with their classes, students that are excelling in their classes, coming in to get some advancement. We want everyone to feel comfortable coming in.
Yeah, and we have limited the size or the amount of students that are allowed in the room to follow COVID safety protocols. So all students are asked to wear masks, and we've limited kind of one student per table so that they're socially distanced as well. And we do our best to keep a record kind of the students who are in on any given day, just in case contact tracing is needed later on.
Thank you for making that distinction, yes.
Mm-hmm. Are there any other questions from parents?
And I've corrected now the phone number on there. So our phone number at the school is 296-6865. And then the extension to reach me is 601-124. So if you want to make note of that, you're more than welcome to follow up with more personal questions that might relate directly to your child. I've already taken a few calls this year, and it's always nice to hear from parents and get to know some of the students that we're going to be working with over the next 5 years.
Yep, there's no further questions in the chat.
Excellent. Okay. Well, it was really nice of all of you to come out and join us tonight. We look forward to working with your families, with you, and as well as the children that will be coming into our school in September. And we wish you all the best, and stay safe during this pandemic time. And we hope to get back to normal really soon. Take care, everyone.